In this episode, we are going to talk about Matiangi's missing signature. They met for a lengthy time. They discussed various issues. They did this and that, but a small thing, such as a missing name and a missing signature, took all the headlines. That is Kenya for you. During a public lecture at the Intelligence University, a lot of issues were covered. Issues which were or are very important to our nation, especially in the issues of intelligence. All that was forgotten by journalists covering the lecture. They concentrated on what the Chancellor of the Intelligence University, General Kahariri, who is also the CDF, said in a single sentence. Forget about the 3 to 4 hours lecture time and whatever. What they concentrated was on 3 or 4 lines that Kanyariri talked about. They concentrated on must go topic. Not that Kahariri was wrong. In fact, he had addressed the concern of many. Very many people wanted clarification on the military, on the JI-TENGE issue. So he was just making clarification in 3 or 4 sentences. But everybody forgot the 3 or 4 hours of the lecture and concentrated on 3 or 4 sentences that were talked. During the JI-TENGE demonstrations, when Kenya Defense Forces armored cars were seen on the streets, you could clearly see the joy of the JI-TENGE. They expected that at a certain point in time, the military would turn against the civilian government and take over. It has happened in the past, especially Africa. And the first case I came across was in 1972 in Uganda. In such cases, the military, in many circumstances, punish everybody. And in some cases, the opposition suffer more than those who are in the government. If you remember, among the first people that Amin killed in his early days was Kiwanuka, Chief Justice Kiwanuka. But before he became a judge, he was the first Prime Minister of Uganda before independence, before his Democratic Party being defeated by Milton Obote's party. So, when I looked at the TV and saw the youths jubilating while they saw the armored vehicle, it reminded me of the very many cases in the 60s and 70s. Whenever there was a coup, the jubilation that was in the street, and the same people who jubilated. It is better to be in the opposition in a rigged civilian government than be in, you'd visit just Khartoum, don't go far, visit Khartoum, and you will know what I'm saying. Now that is what I have to say about military takeover. Young people, JI-TENGE, thought that salvation will come if the army overthrew this current government. I have seen that, and history keeps on repeating itself. Back to the Matiangi signature. In the intelligence world, we don't believe in coincidences. If you notice a coincidence, It is not a coincidence. It was meant to be that way. His name missing on the page, his signature missing on the page, his name and signature missing on the page. Now, I want to clarify the three. In this case, his name was not there and his signature was not there. We have some circumstances where we could have his name there, but he does not sign the place. So it shows that at the time of drafting that, he had said that he should not be included. And what does that mean when he is not included? It means a lot. First and foremost, it could be a deliberate move to defray the discussion and the contents of the discussion, as stated above. You know, I talked of something very big happening, like the intelligence university discussion. I talked of very many things which were very good to the country where people would listen and understand. But since the CDF had just said something about Ruto must go, all concentration were there. So it could be possible that his name and signature were not appended so that Kenyans do not look at the content of the discussion, but they spend time talking, oh, his name is not there. Why is he not there? Does it mean that Uhuru and Gachagua are not? You are already led astray. You start thinking of other things, whereas when they say that the proof of the pudding is in the eating, we have not listened to what they discussed and what effect it is. It may be perhaps intended to defray us, to make us look the other way while things are happening the other way. It could be that Matiangi and by extension Jubilee and by extension Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta may not be comfortable with the content of the letter as it is presently. It could also mean that they are flexing their muscles. They are also flexing their muscles, that is Jubilee, Uhuru, and Matiangi. Or even it could be nothing, it could be just a story to cover another bigger story, as I have said repeatedly. Not forgetting that the meeting was attended by Linturi and Muturi. Both may be lightweights wherever they come from. But it means something in the Meru region. Remember, I recently said in an upload that one of the reasons why a popular Kenyan leader has been losing elections is that when he's looking for this side, which has more people, he doesn't care about these other places with it. He says, after all, nyinyi ni watu wachache, what would you do? That is why I would say you should concentrate more on retaining. You should concentrate more on retaining your current voter basket than go out to look for newer votes. It is not good to look for newer votes at the expense of the old one. Just to make sure that the ones that you have been having from the past, you retain them. A lot of concentration, I could say 60% of your time, energy should be spent on retaining the people you have already won over. There's no need of saying, let me, after all, if I lose that small that small whatever, I've already gained maybe a bigger region. Their aspiration and dream, those people who met recently, their aspiration and dreams is to create a 2002 like movement that would galvanize the country. That is what they are saying. My question is it possible? Is it possible? We are told all dreams are valid, including this dream. But for two circumstances, but no two circumstances are exactly the same. No two circumstances are exactly the same. So we cannot reproduce another 2002 with in exact way. It may be slightly different. It may be slightly better or slightly bad. But one thing that led to the success of 2002 was the belief by the then government of Moi on its own indomitability. The other reason for the 2002 success was the trick by Moi to hold on to all potential political universe and release them at the 11th hour and not give them time to breathe. He believed that if those political luminaries would have broken off earlier, they would have started strong political parties which would eat into Kanu. But he was wrong. The political universe, if they would have been released earlier, they would have formed various conflicting parties and would have led Uhuru to win. That is my observation. So the political universe had only one option. Since they were released very late in the day, under the pretext, you see, Moi had pretended to them, each and everyone, he had told them that it is you whom I'm going to support. So it is you whom I'm going to support. So everybody waited until the 11th hour, thinking that Moi would support them, only for Moi to bold and support Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. They had no option. They could not operate. They could not start offices throughout the country. They would not do this and that and that. The only option they remained with, the only option they remained with was to join the already made up opposition. So what Moi feared, what Moi was against, turned against him. But remember that this time around they have declared their interest very early. They have declared their interest very early, and I don't know whether some of them can work together. You see, they have only one thing in common: their hatred for Ruto and his government. That is what they have in common. But the question is, can they work together and join hands? Let me ask you a question. Would Gachagua work with Uhuru? First of all, Gachagua has not cleared his impeachment case. And the way he was reasoning and the way he's reasoning, I don't know. I don't know. I'm starting to question whether I'm trying to question. I would want to see his report form for him being a DO. Because being a DO and report form at the training, not in the field, at the training. I would really want to see his report form when he was being trained as a DO, because such things, he is going around saying that uh, Kindiki was not elected by people, but he was selected to be a yes man. It's like he is not aware of the constitution. He's not aware of people like Mwangaza. He is not aware of people like Sonko and others. He's not whatever. But my question here was, can he work with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta? My belief is that the intensity of which Uhuru hates Ruto is the same intensity that Uhuru hates Gachagua. I don't see anybody, I don't see any situation where Uhuru will work wholeheartedly with Ruto. Similarly, I don't see a situation where Uhuru will work wholeheartedly with Gachagua. As I said, this time they have declared their interest very early. So the NIS has time to advise the president on how to go, the weakness, and they call it SWOT, strength, weaknesses. Uh, there was something that used to be taught that you study your enemies, your strength, weaknesses. There was a word, I don't know whether it was SWOT or something. Maybe if I can remember, I'll write in the comment section. But if you can remember, please write. So the Ruto government has time to regroup. You should also remember that Ruto was in the forefront in the 2002. He was in the losing time. He was in the losing team in the 2002, and so was Musalia and others. And as they say, once beaten, twice shy. The presence of Jubilee National Chairman sends a strong message. So let us keep watching, let us keep observing to see what goes on. But in my opinion, a person like Matiangi, he's not a politician, he's a bureaucrat. I can say also Kibaki was, although Kibaki spent his lifetime in politics, he was not a politician. Bureaucrats can make very good presidents. So if Matiangi can be, somebody can campaign well for Matiangi, and then Matiangi happens to be the president, Kenya can be in a better place. But you see, Kenya politics are tribal. Uh, Justice Maraga is there. You see people plant there, surrogates. But my prediction is if he continues the way he's continuing, uh, Ruto broke the record. Ruto broke the record of being the first person ever to contest a presidential election for the first time and win. I don't see Matiangi winning this one, but I expect him to pull a very strong showing in the 2027, so that if he brings in a very strong showing in 2027, I can assure you, and those who will be alive in 2032, that Matiangi it will be his to lose. With those remarks, I wish you a happy day and a happy time. Bye.